Okay, cut that off.
I'm sorry?
I'm getting ready to talk.
Yeah.
That concludes our dedication to the career and the life of drummer Jack DeJohnette, former member of the Charles Lloyd Quartet. 2 years he was a Miles Davis sideman. He died last week at the age of 83 of congestive heart failure. You heard a cut that was from the Audiovisual Scapes CD, and the name of the song is called Don Joe. And that features Jack DeJohnette on drums, Gary Thomas tenor sax, St. Louis's own Greg Osby on alto sax, Lonnie Plaxico electric bass, Mick Goodrick on electric guitar. And before that, you heard music from a 1969 ECM labeled album called The DeJohnette Complex. The cuts that you heard from that album, The Major General and Papa Daddy Me. And also, Jack DeJohnette was the house drummer for ECM Records. Now, ECM Records is a German-based record label. This is the top of the hour number 2 of Jazz in the AM. Right now, we're going to be conducting an interview with educator, guitarist, songwriter Dan Weinberg. How you doing today, Dan?
Just fine. Good to be here.
Okay. Well, Dan, tell me a little bit about your beginning years. Where did you grow up? What was your home life like? And where did you attend high school?
Well, I grew up in St. Louis. Um, uh, I started in University City, and then my family moved west, as many people did, to Ladue. And I spent 5th grade to 12th grade somewhat resistantly at St. Louis Country Day School. My father was dedicated to great education, and he felt that that was the best education I could get.
Did you get a good education there?
I did, but I was not happy there.
What kind of a student were you?
I was I was too dedicated a student. I wasn't. I didn't have a good time. I just studied.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have friends,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a good point.
What made you become enamored with music?
Along with some of my friends, I started listening to rock and roll in the late 50s, early 60s. And I knew all the songs. I knew the lyrics, pop lyrics. I knew Neil Sedaka. I knew the songwriters. I knew all of them. Freddie Cannon, all those people. And as the different song, also I became interested in folk songs. The Kingston Trio, later Peter, Paul, and Mary, all of those. And that developed my interest in songwriting.
So, what was it about folk music that you liked?
I liked the fact that it was about people and caring about people. It was the beginning in music about people caring about people.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Seeger writing about people and his interest in people caring about people. And I began to feel that way too.
Mm-hmm. So, you're a very altruistic person.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Oh.
And I became interested in politics at an early age. I was a supporter of Jack Kennedy early on, and later Bobby Kennedy, although not his son, although that's much later.
So when did you begin playing the guitar? Were you self-taught or did someone teach you how to play the guitar?
No, I was self-taught. I asked for, when the Beatles started becoming famous, I asked my parents to give me a guitar. I think it was my 15th or 16th birthday, and they gave me a guitar and a book to learn chords. And I learned about 10 chords and from the book. And after that, after about 10 or 12 chords, I got tired of learning. And I started playing chords and songs. And before long, I remember writing one song back then. That was about it. And later on in college, I wrote a couple of songs inspired by a little redheaded girl in my sophomore year in college that I fell in love with from afar.
Okay, so did you ever marry this woman, or?
Oh gosh, no. It was from afar. The first song was called "Suddenly in Love," and it was very much from afar. The second song was called "Tell Me You'll Stay." It was an imagined relationship.
Did you ever talk to her?
Oh yeah, yeah, we were friends.
Okay.
And it got to the point of me confessing my love and her telling me that she only wanted to be friends.
Okay, so she didn't profess her love for you at all.
No, no. But she became actually a very successful writer. And we stayed friends for quite a while.
What was it about the Beatles that impressed you?
They wrote, especially early on, they wrote fairly simple lyrics.
Yeah.
But good tunes, good melodies.
Mm-hmm. I want to hold your hand. I mean, anybody could write that.
Well, you would think so, but they did it. That was the difference. And of course, later on, I learned that John and Paul sat opposite each other and wrote lyrics back and forth. And they did it. And somehow they became famous. They got a manager, Brian Epstein, eventually, and they somehow knew enough to become famous hit writers.
Mm-hmm.
And before long, they were on the Ed Sullivan Show. They did something that I never knew how to do, which was become famous writers.
Okay, so getting back to folk music, how did listening to folk music help you form your style in playing the guitar?
I was never a great songwriter. Excuse me, I was never a great guitarist. I was a good enough guitarist to write songs. And I think they were fairly good songs. People tell me they are. I don't go by my own judgment. But folk songs inspired me, and they made me want to write good songs.
Mm-hmm.
And the two things that I wanted to do in songwriting were write good melodies and good lyrics.
Did you think that you did?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I never thought, as far as telling myself that I was great, and I never knew how to make I never knew how to market my songs.
So why weren't you any good at marketing? What was the problem?
Well, the first thing that I did with a partner, I had a co-writer in college, and we tried to market our songs, and we got a singer in college, and my co-writer was a pianist, and we bought a piano for $5, which we put in our apartment. He could play very well, and we got it recorded. I don't actually remember how, but it was recorded, and we tried through the father of a friend to get our two or three songs recorded, but we never got anywhere.
So what happened? Why didn't it blow up, so to speak?
I don't know. I just personally I did not know how to get any further than liking our songs, having some friends like our songs. It just didn't go anywhere. And at a certain point, I just had to say, okay, I'm not going to be famous. That's okay.
So was it because were you reserved or were you shy?
Well, I am a fairly reserved and shy person. I didn't know what to do. Oh, I'll tell you something. I once went to a coffee house in St. Louis. I think it was in Kirkwood, and I performed, and I was extremely nervous, and I didn't like the feeling, and I never performed again. I was not a singer-songwriter. I was a songwriter.
Mm-hmm. You were a guy behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't have other people performing my songs.
Okay, now I listened to your CDs, and what inspired you to write those songs on those CDs?
Mostly my feelings about specific women. I wrote mostly love songs, often unrequited love. That was it. I wrote songs about people, women in my life. That was it. And
Okay.
I think that's what many songwriters do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was alone in that.
So, on the second CD, I listened to a female singer on those CDs. Who was that female singer?
Actually, there are two. There are two different singers with fairly similar voices. And those songs that you heard were written and performed in Ann Arbor, Michigan, because I was living there. And both of those women and the band behind them and the pianists, they all performed in a studio in Ann Arbor. And the bands and the performers were all gathered by the pianists, who were my co-writers. They helped write, although I wrote the melodies and the lyrics. They helped arrange all the songs.
So, what year were those songs recorded?
Mostly around 1984 and 85.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how long did you live in Ann Arbor, Michigan?
I lived there from about 82. I moved back from St. Louis to Ann Arbor around 82, and I lived there till 2001. And then I moved back to St. Louis.
So let's talk about Cornell University now. Now, was it at Cornell University, was that the college where you began writing songs?
I did. Well, yeah. Actually, no. I wrote songs in the early 1970s, the guitar songs, here in St. Louis. I had begun living. I had gone to law school in 1969, and in 1971, I quit law school. This was in Ann Arbor.
Why'd you quit law school?
I hated it.
So you wanted to be a lawyer, but you...
No, I went to law school because I felt a need to satisfy a need. Excuse me. I had a need to go there, and I'll tell you a quick story.
Go on.
I was teaching in St. Louis. I taught at a place called the Wilson School, which is a private school in St. Louis. And I felt a need to apply to law school.
Why? What was that need?
I don't know.
You don't know what the need was?
I think it was from my dad.
So you were doing something to please your dad?
I think so.
So he was wasting money?
Actually, my father had passed away by then.
Oh, he passed away.
Yeah, but it was his money that put me through law school. Excuse me. I felt the need to go there, and I think it came from him. So I went, I applied, and I got accepted, and I was going to go. And my principal, Mrs. Breckner, told me, "You shouldn't go to law school. You're a born teacher. Stay here." I said, I have to go. I had this urge, and I finally went. And within weeks, I knew that I shouldn't be there. But I went, and for 2 years, I was there. And after 2 years, I quit. 2.5 years later, after teaching here in St. Louis at a private alternative school here in St. Louis, I went back and finished.
You went back and finished law school?
These.
You ever done anything with your law degree? You know, done nothing with it?
I took the bar exam, and I passed it in Michigan, but I did nothing with it. After I took the bar and dropped it, I came back and I got my certification to teach at Webster here, and I began teaching. I taught in University City for 4 years.
What did you teach when you went to University City?
I taught.
What'd you teach?
I taught 8th grade social studies I made a mistake. It was 3 years. And after that, I went back. I did like Ann Arbor. I didn't like law school. And I taught back in Ann Arbor.
What was it about Ann Arbor that you liked?
Oh, it was a college town. It was a nice, environment. I didn't like the cold, and that's one thing that brought me back eventually. But it was, there was the arts, theater, music. It was a good environment.
So would you consider yourself deep down an artist?
Yeah. I had a creative spark. And while I was in Ann Arbor, I began writing, back in Ann Arbor, began writing songs again.
Who was your songwriting partner?
Actually, I had two. My first one was a guy named Harvey Reed. He was a jazz pianist, and I actually took some piano lessons from him, although that didn't pan out. I would hear songs in my head, and I would just write melodies and lyrics. And then I would go to Harvey, and although he tried to teach me some, I would go to him and sing the songs I had written in my head. He would then take them, he would play them and arrange them, add a little something to them, and write the sheet music, and eventually they became the songs that you heard on the CD.
So you did record some songs at Cornell, right?
We recorded about 3 songs
You gonna
at Cornell.
Okay, are you going to do anything with them?
We recorded, no, I mean, I've talked to my co-writer there. No, that as far as I'm concerned, and my co-writers, he doesn't want any part of writing anymore. He's just, he doesn't have any interest anymore. And I don't have any connection to my co-writers in Ann Arbor.
Okay, now, what year did you attend the Michigan Law School?
1969 to 71, and I finished in 1974. I completed the degree. And by the way, I graduated cum laude.
And you, but you never did do anything with your law degree.
I was a very diligent student, but I didn't care a whit about law. I couldn't keep myself from studying, but I wasn't interested.
So you're basically a studious, curious person.
Yeah, but I wasn't interested in the material. Also, I had a roommate my freshman year at law school who used to say, there are lawyers that I know and don't like, and there are lawyers I don't like. No, I don't know and don't like, meaning law students. That was pretty much my feeling about lawyers. I just didn't. I like teachers a lot more than I like lawyers.
What is it about lawyers you don't like?
The ambition, money, interest in money. I just didn't. They didn't. Their interests were not my interests.
You think lawyers are cutthroat?
Yeah, for the most part, they have to be, and that doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ambition. I don't have that kind of ambition.
It clashes with your altruistic nature.
Yeah, and also my creative nature. I liked creating songs. Lawyers have to be creative, but not in the way I am.
What way are lawyers creative?
Well, they have to create briefs and about the law. They have to go before courts and all. But I'm sorry. But that's not something that I'm interested in.
So when did you get your teaching certificate, and what do you enjoy about teaching?
I got my teaching certificate in 1973. I completed it, and I was certified in secondary English and social studies. So that meant middle school and high school. And I taught actually 8th and 9th grade social studies at University City at Hanley Junior High for 1 semester. But they closed Hanley the semester after the semester I taught, and they tore it down. And the teachers were given a choice of going down to middle school or up to high school, and I chose down to middle school. And after that, I taught middle school. So I went to, Brittany Woods. That's where I went. And I taught there for 3 years. And then after that, I decided to go back up to Ann Arbor. And I taught there for a good while. 15 years, something like that, before I came back to St. Louis.
So you wrote songs for a children's play.
Yes, I did.
And the guy named Harvey Reed was a pianist from Ann Arbor, Michigan. He arranged and wrote down the music for the play.
Yeah.
And when did you meet Harvey?
What I did, I needed somebody to write down the music, because I had written the songs in my head, but I couldn't write it down for the kids to sing it. And for somebody to, well, Harvey had to play the music for the kids. So I had to find somebody to do that. So I went around asking people if they knew a pianist, somebody to write, to complete the music and write it down. And that became Harvey. I didn't know him before that. So I just asked around and found Harvey. And after we wrote the music for the kids show, and the kids show was called The Land of Laughingstock. I had written the play.
The Land of Laughingstock. Did you come up with the title?
Yeah, I had written the play while I was in St. Louis, and the play was written while I was teaching at I'm not sure.
Take your time.
Yeah. Westminster Neighborhood School, which was at the Second Presbyterian Church on Westminster and Taylor. The church had donated the space for us to teach there. And so we taught there, and at a certain point we decided to put on the play, which I had written earlier. So it was just a play, it wasn't a musical. And when I moved to Ann Arbor, I decided I'd like to write music for it. And then I decided, okay, I want to write music. I don't know how, because I need somebody to co-write music. That introduced Harvey into my life. And after that, I thought, I'd like to write other music.
Why'd you call the play The Land of Laughingstock?
Well,
how'd you come up with that title?
That was because in the play, there was a king who didn't like, well, this is going to be hard for me because it's a long time ago. He outlawed crying and outlawed money. Wait a second. This is difficult for me because it's so long ago. He outlawed crying and insisted, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm not going to be able to do it.
That's okay.
But what we did was we turned the play into a musical. And Harvey helped me write the music. He wrote it all down. And after that, I decided I'd like to write some other songs. And Harvey and I did that.
Okay, so in the late 1980s, you stopped writing. Why did you stop writing? What happened?
That's a good question. I think it had to do with a relationship with a woman that ended. And it was very painful. And for me, I don't know about her. I never saw her again. And I stopped writing, at least for a while, and I never started writing songs again until just recently. It was suggested to me that I think about writing again. What I've done lately is I've looked at songs from the past, and what I've found is a few songs that I started writing in the late 80s that I had forgotten about, and recently I found two songs that I've been working on. And I have completed one, and I've started working on another. And my hope is that maybe I can, after finishing these two, I'll come up with some others. And one other hope is that I'll find a new songwriting partner. I don't have one. If anybody out there would like to help, I'd be more than happy to work with somebody.
Also, could you get someone to market those songs?
That I don't know, but
yeah.
I think
get someone to market them.
I think they're marketable. I think they're worth somebody trying to market them, and the past songs.
Okay, so have you ever been involved in social activism? The reason I ask this is because when I was doing research on you were a volunteer counselor at Missouri Claim. And what is Missouri Claim? Could you tell me what Missouri Claim is?
Yeah, Missouri Claim, which is now called SHIP, S-H-I-P, State Health Insurance Program. Both of them, they're the same thing. They are state parts of a federal program. Every state has a I don't want to spell this wrong, has a ship, like a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And ships are state organizations that are made up of volunteers that help older people with their senior citizens, I'll call it, with their Medicare programs. So every year between, I think it's October 15th and December 7th, senior citizens have to come up with their Medicare decision on their Medicare programs. And there's a lot of Medicare programs out there. And what I did and what senior citizens have to do, come up with, is their choice of Medicare plans. And what I would do and what volunteers do is help senior citizens decide on their Medicare plans. And every year we would help. And still, I'm not doing it anymore.
Why?
Well, I reached a point where I really didn't feel able to do the work. We had to constantly learn new plans, and there would be online, what do you call it? Online, you had to keep renewing your knowledge, and I just got kind of tired of learning over and over again, and I couldn't keep up. So I I gave up my volunteer work. There is, I have a pretty serious case of arthritis now in most of my joints. And when that happens, I had over the last 5 or 6 years, I've had a pretty bad, well, I've had a lot of surgery. And when that happens, you have to gauge how much you can do to help others. And I reached a point where I had to give up some of my volunteer work.
So that is why you gave up the guitar, because of arthritis?
Yes. I can't play the guitar. I can't form chords anymore with my left hand, and strumming is difficult with my right hand. So I might be able to think up a melody, but I can't play the melody. And it's difficult to write songs when you can't play them.
Okay, now you were involved with the Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence. And why did you choose this nonprofit organization?
What was that?
The Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence?
I briefly showed interest in it, but I didn't actually participate in. I care very much about what the Brady Center does, but I never actually participated. I donated to it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still do.
So you're very much concerned about gun violence, right?
I think.
Are you for gun control?
Oh, absolutely. Guns.
Why?
Well, guns. I believe that guns should be limited, but definitely, because I think guns are a principal reason why people are being killed.
But naysayers would say that it's not guns that is killing people, is that
people.
We have a problem with mental illness. Would you say that?
No. I mean, I think we certainly have a problem with mental illness, but I think if there were less guns, fewer guns on the street available to people with mental illness or without mental illness, I don't think it matters. If there were fewer guns available, I believe we would have fewer shootings.
Are you for limits to the Second Amendment?
Yes.
You are? Why?
I think the Second Amendment says different things than people who favor the Second Amendment say there are.
So you're not in favor of someone owning a machine gun or something like that?
I think this business with the what are they called? AR-15s. The founding fathers never thought about AR-15s. AR-15s are weapons of war, and do not belong in the hands of everybody who wants one. No.
So did you have anyone close to you die of gun violence?
No.
You didn't?
Fortunately, no. And I'm very lucky in that. I was in the Army Reserves in 1968. I joined. My purpose in joining was to avoid going to Vietnam. I'm very honest about that.
You're a conscientious objector?
No.
You're not?
No, I joined the military so that I would not have to go to Vietnam.
You joined the reserve so you wouldn't have to go to
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
In 1968, that was very common. People were joining the reserves because it was a way of avoiding going to Vietnam.
So around about the time when you were a teenager, 1965 to 73, that was the height of recruitment of men going to Vietnam to fight.
Yes, and my first thought when I was graduating, a sophomore in college, how do I not go to Vietnam? How do I not get drafted? Because, and when I was in college, that's what most people were thinking. Most of the men were trying to avoid going to Vietnam, except for those who wanted to go.
So you're basically, your political stance, you're a liberal.
Yeah, I'm a liberal. I guess you could say I was a pacifist, but I had to deal with reality. The reality was I was going to go to Vietnam if I didn't do something to save myself. You know, there was a controversy about whether George Bush, the son, the second president, had avoided service in Vietnam by walking away from his commitment in I think it was the reserve. Of course he avoided it. Of course he did. But he was president and he had ways of avoiding it.
I think Dan Quayle did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are bad apple gun dealers?
I'm sorry?
What are bad apple gun dealers?
I've never heard that term. They may be, I'm not sure, Kevin.
Okay. So we're going to wrap this up. What are you doing now? What do you look to do in the future?
Well, I'm 78 years old, so I'm realistic about the future. I have what I told you about arthritis. I am limited physically. What I do, and I'm limited financially. I don't have a lot of money left. I live on Social Security mainly.
Not too social, not too secure, some people say.
Yeah, well, I have to think that I'm going to be secure. Right now I am, but I have to, I'm confident that I'm going to be around a while.
Okay.
And I do what I can to support. Right now I'm supporting Democrats and liberals.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dan, for coming in for the interview. You're a good person, and I'm glad I got to sit down and talk to you.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
All right. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to give you 2 Prime Choice cuts from our CD of the week. This week, we're going to give you music from violinist Brandy Younger's new CD, Gadabout Season. I don't know what the heck a Gadabout Season is, but this is Brandy Younger. This is an album on the Impulse label, and enjoy.